Greetings, Toastmasters, and welcome guests. How many people remember the answers that they used to give when they were growing up as to what do you want to be when you grow up? You remember the answers you used to give? Did you become that person? That's good. So how many people actually went to school and got a job in a degree, or got a job for something they went to school for? All right, good. Well, I did that. Basically, I'm looking at that as your plan A. Once your plan A goes into implementation, it's usually when you start studying in school for it. So I started my plan A at Bradley University. I was a biology pre-med major. I wanted to be a doctor. And while I was going through school, I had an upperclassman named James Cotton. He said, "What are you going to do with that biology degree if you don't go to med school?" So he said, "Why don't you become a chemist? And that way you can still be a pre-med major and still, you know, have something to fall back on if you don't go to med school." So at the time, I thought that was a good idea. I had an older brother, and Sridhar happened to talk about water. And my brother worked as a chemist at the water filtration plant, and there's plenty of free water there, you know, so you don't have to spend your money buying bottled water. So actually, since my brother was a chemist, I said, okay, being a chemist is probably a good idea. So I became a chemistry pre-med major, and now I thought it was a good idea, and until I became a senior, where I had to take physical chemistry, thermodynamics. As you, Ken, might know, that is really rocket science. I was in there with all these engineers, and I was wondering, why does the chemist who wants to major in pre-med have to sit here with all these engineers in thermodynamics? So that was one of the great things I had to take to become a chemist. And I finished my chemistry degree later on at Chicago State, and while I was working at night as a security officer. So one day at Chicago State, after receiving my degree, I became a faculty assistant there, and I would teach chemistry labs for classes and things like that. And one day they had a job fair going on. So I attended the job fair, and the Chicago Police Department had a booth there. And the booth was for the crime lab. So I actually attended the lab, and I said, okay, well, this would be a good idea to use my chemistry degree by applying for the Chicago Police Crime Lab. So I did, and I became a police chemist. And as a police chemist, what I did would analyze drugs and marijuana that they confiscate off of people. And I had to go to court and testify to my findings. And also they would also have to write a report, you know. So during that time, I became a police chemist. I worked a couple of years on the job, and I became a supervisor at night, and I would also do some training. And in 1995, the mayor and the governor were having an argument over more revenue for the city, and the governor wanted to know if he could have a casino or a third airport. You know, they've been talking about Piatone Airport. And you can think, okay, this is 1995, and still today they're still talking about, you know, having a casino or airport in Chicago. So we still haven't got that. But the mayor said basically, if you don't give me more revenue, then I'd have to shut down the Chicago Police Crime Lab. And it was a law that the Illinois State Police were responsible for forensic analysis in the state. So that's what happened. So the Illinois State Police took over the Chicago Police Crime Lab. They built a brand new building on Roosevelt and Damon, and that's where I'm currently employed. So I came over as I said, I was a supervisor at the Chicago Police Crime Lab, and I transitioned over to the Illinois State Police as a supervisor. Peggy was in my group at the time, and so I stayed as a supervisor for many years there, and one of the times that it seemed like I wasn't, you know, advancing in my career a little while, so I went to another lab and became assistant lab director at the Forensic Science Center at Westchester. and I supervise the toxicology section and the chemistry section. And supervising people in toxicology, the toxicologists are the people who analyze your DUIs. You know, so I really, you know, put a new perspective on what I thought about, you know, drinking and driving. So I want to make sure that I didn't have too many beers when I went out to my beer garden. It wouldn't be too nice to have your supervisor, you know, as one of your cases. So, right now, as of January, I'm the Deputy Laboratory Director at the Forensic Science Center in Chicago. And I would like to use that philosophy as you always have a plan B. You know, my plan A was to go to med school, and my plan B worked out pretty good for me. So never pass up an opportunity to improve yourself or have growth, and always have a plan.